called Assam for about 12 years. I don't know whether any Assamese boys here around, here in this hall. Assamese, I learned Assamese because I was forced to learn Assamese. Because of his class 6 boy. On day 1, he said, Sudhakar ji, आपको यदि, he knew smattering of Hindi, he said, आपको यदि असमिया लोगों को उनका दिल जीतना है, तो आपको 3 बातें बोलना चाहिए. You have to say 3 words to any Assamese you meet. सबसे पहला नमस्कार. I was taken in by that expression because नमस्कार is नमस्कार everywhere. The second word he said is अपनी महापूर्वक. Those who are from Magadhi region or Bhojpuri region or from Bihar, they can understand what a good work is. Good work is an idiot. मुझे कहना था कि आप महापूर्वक हैं, not just good work, महापूर्वक. And then the third thing he said, मैं अपना घर जुआएं, जिसका मतलब होता है मैं आपका घर जुआएं, घर जमाएं. And I faithfully wrote down everything. Then I went onto the street, and the first man I met, he was about 70, 75, walking with the help of a walking stick, and I said, Namaskar. He was happy, he said, Namaskar. And I said, Apni Mahaprabhu. Third I said, Moi apna ghor juaएं, I apna ghar jamaएं. You can very well imagine what would have happened to me. Immediately after saying these 3 words. That day I realized that I must learn the language that most Assamese speak. So I learned Assamese within a matter of 6 months. I was able to give lectures, I was able to sign in Assamese language. So a language usually becomes a part and parcel of your being only when you are forced to do it. I once traveled from a place called Gulbarga. As I was traveling, the whole, it was an RTC bus, Karnataka RTC bus. Starting from Gulbarga till Hyderabad. If anyone is from Medak, you would understand the geography. Till then, everyone in the bus was speaking Kannada. From driver, the bus conductor, to most of the people sitting in the bus, they were speaking in Kannada language. Then suddenly, starting from Hyderabad to Narsapur, they started speaking Marathi. And as they reached Narsapur, everyone started speaking Telugu. And the moment they were entering into Hyderabad, they all broke into Dakkani. Every passenger traveling in the bus, regardless of which language he belongs to, which state he comes from, they all spoke 4 languages. They started with Marathi, then graduated to Kannada, then they shifted to Telugu, and as they reached Hyderabad, they broke into our very own Dakkani language, Kaiko, Kitta, Nakko, so on and so forth. So whenever there is a interface, multiple languages cross. People from Medak district, the border areas of Medak district, they speak at least 4 languages. People from Adilabad town in Adilabad district, undivided Adilabad district, most of them speak either Marathi or Hindi, and only a few of them speak Telugu. So wherever there is an interface, and I first went to Hyderabad way back in 1990s. At that time, the district headquarters of Hyderabad was getting more copies of Navbharata Hindi daily than Inadu, the most popular Telugu paper. So this is how things happen. Whenever there is an interface, multiple languages cross. I worked in a place called Morrigaon in Assam. There is a tribe called Tiwa. This Tiwa tribe, the total number of Tiwa language speakers is around 80,000. Now the number has grown, but when I was there in the 80s, 80,000 people. Thanks to a Catholic missionary, I got a Tiwa English dictionary. And I was browsing through the words, Tiwa words. These dialects have fewer, smaller vocabulary, fewer words. So I was going through all those, some 3,000 or 4,000 words. I found that there were some words which were found out that Tiwans were very enterprising people who traded from Dhaka port. So as they were trading from Dhaka port, they were sending oranges all the way across to Indonesia, where the traders were essentially Arab traders. So there are some Arab words in Tiwa language which is entirely homogeneous language, but they had Arab words. What is the official language of Nagaland? We all say it's English. But when two Nagas meet, more often than not, they will speak in a language which is known as Nagamese. They speak in a language called Nagamese, which is nothing but a corrupt form of Assamese. It is an Assamese language because there are 14 or 15 different Naga tribes. What we call Nagas, there are Aos, Semas, Angamis, Lothas, then there are different Giliam, Rangway, Iyam, and so on and so forth. Lot of other languages, 14 or 15 different sub-tribes are there. Each speaks its own language. Assam is a veritable Babel, not Babel. In Northeast, there are over 180 languages. The other language is unintelligible to the man sitting next to you. Some languages are spoken by as few people as 10,000 people. There is a language called Mari, which is a Naga language, spoken hardly by 10,000 people. So what is the lingua franca for them? It is corrupt form of Assamese, which is known as Nagamese. Same way in Arunachal Pradesh, before it became Arunachal Pradesh, it was known as Nepal, Northeastern Frontier Province. Nepal, the Assamese spoken among various tribes of Adi, Nishi, Yapatani, Sherdupen, Monpa, Kamti, you name it, you have almost about 40 or 50 different tribes, each speaking its own language. So, the common language for them was called Nepalese, a corrupt form of Assamese. Now it is no longer known as Nepalese because the name of the state has changed. It is known as Arunachal. So lingua franca is something that connects people. Many a time we think that Hindi, एक ही हिंदी अलग-अलग जगहों पर अलग-अलग मीनिंग हो सकता है. There is an apocryphal story. I don't know whether this is true or not. One of my friends from Uttaranchal told me that two friends, one from Uttaranchal, the other from Uttar Pradesh, they met. They spent 3 or 4 hours, and then आओ खाना खाएं. Then this UP वाला guy said, हाथ पैर धो के आ जाओ. हाथ पैर धो के आ जाऊंगा आपके neighbor. This Uttarakhandi said, वहाँ जाओ दूर में, वहाँ जाकर के हाथ पैर धो के आओ. And this UP वाला said, इतना दूर क्यों जाना है? लेकिन यहीं कर लूँगा, हाथ पैर धो लूँगा, क्या है? पानी मंगाओ. चलो नो, यहाँ हाथ पैर नहीं धो सकते, वहाँ जाना है. नहीं, यहाँ हो जाएगा, इतना रात क्यों जाना है? तो गड़बड़ क्या है इसमें? हाथ पैर धोना, Hindi word has 2 different connotations for 2 people. For one, it is हाथ पैर धोना, cleansing your feet and hands. For the Uttarakhandi, I don't know whether this is true. This is an apocryphal story that I read somewhere. For the Uttarakhandi, it is Swachh Bharat. हाथ पैर धोना है स्वच्छ भारत. यहाँ नहीं हो सकता, वहाँ जाना है. I don't know whether this is true, but then this story tells you that language can be same, but the connotations can be acquired, meanings can be different. So, given this kind of diversity within India, within our country, it is imperative that we need a language that links all the people. Most countries with many languages have solved this problem in different ways. For instance, there is a country called Papua New Guinea, and this country, the total population is 40 lakhs. Pardon me because I do not know the current way of counting things. Lakhs still exists in my dictionary. 40 lakh people. Total population of Papua New Guinea is 40 lakh. The total languages spoken are 800. So they speak English is the common language, common link language. If if you have any objection to the word lingua franca, let us use the word link language. Indonesia has over 700 languages. Each island has its own language. In Lombok Island they speak a language called Lombokese. In Java they speak Javanese. In Sumatra they speak a different language. So they have three language formula. Most people the official transactions happen in a language in English. But the lingua franca there is Bhasha Indonesia, which is written Bahasa Indonesia. Bahasa is nothing but a Sanskritized, corrupt Sanskrit word. Bhasha, Bahasa ban gaya. Bahasa Indonesia is taught in the schools and most people have started using it. Most people use it as a link language. So a country with over 700 languages. Similarly, we have Nigeria, where there are over 100 languages. Most of them speak a local official language, and then English is the most common. Why is English common in India? Because most parts of this country were ruled by Britishers. In 1741, the Dutch people first came into India and they colonized parts of Kerala. There was a battle in 1741 in a place called Kolachal. Aditya, who is from Kerala, he is from the northern part of Kerala. This Kolachal is in the southern part of Kerala. In this place called Kolachal, there was a battle between Raja Martanda Varma and the Dutch people. The Dutch, which were the strongest naval force at that point in time, were defeated. And they left the shores of Kerala never to come back. Had the Dutch won this country, this battle, Kolachal battle in 1741, we would all be speaking in Dutch language. The Britishers have colonized the whole of the country except for parts of Pondicherry, Yanam, Karaikal, Mane, where French is, and Chandranagar in West Bengal, where French is commonly used. Or Portuguese have colonized Goa, Daman, Diu, and then you have Dadra and Nagar Haveli. So Portugal language is the most popular language there. Even today, legal cases, whenever there is a land dispute, whenever there is a title deed crisis, till 2014, people used to go all the way to Lisbon to fight that case. And they used to take along Portuguese translators, and then all the land documents were in Portuguese language, and they were stored in a place called Lisbon, which is the capital city. 2014, all those documents were brought to India. They were translated into English and Konkani language. So the locals now need not go all the way to Portuguese to get their land disputes solved. Rest of the country largely adopted English as the official language. Prior to that, Persian was the official language. But then even when Persian was the official language, even when the Turkic languages were the official languages, Hindi was hugely popular. In the 14th century, a poet in the court of the Delhi Nawab, he told the Nawab, यहाँ ही क्या वहाँ भी जा, खुदा से तक कहा मैंने, जरा सी सीख लो मौला, बड़ी अच्छी जुबान है. He said in Urdu, Mawla, mere Nawab, please learn Hindi because Hindi is a very beautiful language. यहाँ ही क्या वहाँ भी जा, खुदा से तक कहा मैंने, जरा सी सीख लो मौला, बड़ी अच्छी जुबान है, because Hindi was still current. In the 16th century, there was a Hindi Urdu. There was a Muslim poet called Rahim Khan. He wrote poetry in Hindi. Dhul dharat nij sheesh par kah Rahim ke hi kaat, jo raj muni patni kari, so dhundat gajra. Not one of the words used in this poem is Urdu. Today when we speak, we use tahe dil se shukriya ada karte hain. None of which is Hindi. तकरीबन 400 तकरीबन is Urdu, not Hindi. The problem today is we have started accepting a hybrid language called Hindustani under the influence of our independence movement and under Hindi language has, आप हिंदी में उर्दू शब्दों के बगैर हिंदी बोल ही नहीं सकते हैं. South India, I remember very well during the heat of the debate against Hindi language. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, then an MP in the opposition, he made a speech in Hindi. After the speech was over, the DMK members who were fighting a very hard battle for Tamil language, they stood up and they said, we understood every word that Mr. Vajpayee spoke. हमको पूरा समझ में आया. They said in English, of course, they would not use Hindi for political reasons. They said हमको पूरा समझ में आया. Because the link between Sanskrit and Tamil is so deep, not many people appreciate. All the names in old Tamil Nadu, whether it is Nagapattinam, Chennapattanam, Arakonam, Kumbakonam, Vellur, most of these have Sanskrit background. And it is only in the later part of the history of Tamil Nadu that words like different, with a typical Tamil sounding words have come. Silappadikaram, Padikaram, it's a very famous story of Kannadi. Padikaram is nothing but Pratikaram. Neer, Tanneer is water. Neer is Neeraha, is Sanskrit. So we had a lingua franca even before the Britishers or the Mughals came. And that lingua franca, Sanskrit for the lettered people and Pali, Prakrit and Paishachi for the common people, where degenerative form of grammar was used, and most of the Buddhist literature is either in Pali or in Prakrit. Both are dead languages now, and we need experts to decipher those texts these days. So a lingua franca has always been there to transmit ideas. Otherwise, when I visited Assam, I heard a song, Yashoda calling out Krishna not to go out. It says, Sham kanu duroloi nadava, punorbadi goraidi bharate bajava. This is the matlab hai, the rough meaning of it. Hey Krishna, don't go away, don't go afar. I'll give you a bansuri made of gold and play at home. It says, घर में ही बजाओ, भरते बजाओ. In Tamil Nadu, Muthukadu Venkata Kavi in 12th century said, Maru mekku kannai ki koga vedam sonne. It means the same thing. Maru mekku kannai is Krishna. Ni koga vedam sonne, I am telling you not to go out. The same song. Both the states of Tamil Nadu as well as Assam were separated by over 1500 kilometers. How the same idea got transmitted if there was no lingua franca? And it is not Sanskrit, it is actually Pali, Prakrit or Paishachi, which are the language of the unlettered people, the commoners, the kings, the other people, they use Sanskrit. The different forms, for example, this cultural continuity is there. Sir, refer to the Kashi Tamil Sangamam. The Kashi Tamil Sangamam, when Kashi was under attack by the invading forces, Aurangzeb destroyed it. That very moment, I think, much before Aurangzeb, some other king destroyed it in the 10th or 11th century. The moment that was destroyed, somewhere in North India, in Uttar Pradesh, Kashi, the Pandya Maharaja of Tamil Nadu, he wanted to construct a new capital for himself. He said, "Abhi mujhe capital nahi chahiye. I want to build Kashi. Capital can wait. I want to build a Kashi." And he built a town which he called Kashi. The only difference is he said this is Kashi of the Dakshina. The word he used is Ten Kashi. Ten Kashi. And Rajaraja Chola, who ruled in 12th or 13th century, he is known as Gangai Konda Chola. Someone was brought Ganga to the south, and still now there is a part of Tamil Nadu which is known as Kongu Nadu. Kongu is nothing but Ganga. Why am I referring to all these things? There was a lingua franca, there was something that connected people from north to south and east to west. Language was one, culture was one, and given the example of Maro Charitra. The Telugu movie is Maro Charitra. I don't know what it was called in Tamil. Kamal Haasan and Sarita, they were basically communicating their love through non-verbal mode. The point is, non-verbal communication is 85% of any language. So India used to communicate through non-verbal communication, verbal communication. Language was never a barrier. Why am I stressing all these things? It is because lingua franca for Indians has always been there. Sanskrit was one, Pali Prakrit was one. How is it that the Vishalakshi temple in Kashi was constructed by Natkote Chettiars of Tamil Nadu? Natkote Chettiars are trading community or traded in places like Malaysia, Singapore and all these places, amassed huge wealth in Burma and other places, amassed huge wealth, and they constructed temples. And the Kashi Vishalakshi temple, आप अगर काशी जाएंगे और विशालाक्षी का मंदिर जाएंगे, so you will not find Hindi script over there. Tamil script, it is written that Natkote Chettiar had constructed this temple. उनका नाम इत्यादि वो साल सब वहाँ लिखा है. So there was this lingua franca was very much there. असमिया में है वो असमिया, बंगाली, मागधी, भोजपुरी, Odia. It's 5 are the same family stock. If you know one language, you can understand all the 5 languages. You may not be proficient in speaking that very specific language. So we had many, regional lingua francas. Telugu wala knowing Kannada was never difficult. Tamilian knowing Malayalam was never difficult. We had our own lingua francas. People, Telugu people ruled up to Madurai, and Tamil people have constructed temple as deep as in Prakasam district of Andhra Pradesh. For example, the only second Vamana temple, the first Vamana temple is in Kerala. The second Vamana temple, Vamana Avatar Mandir, is in a place called Cherpur in Prakasam district. It is the intersection between Prakasam and Cherpur near Bapata. If anyone is from that area, you could tell me Cherpur is the name of the village. If you go to the temple, you would find inscriptions in Tamil. Our Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Chandrababu Naidu, is so fluent in Tamil. So lingua franca was never a problem for Indian people. The only problem was somewhere along we stopped going from place to place. Somewhere along this, pan-India travels have stopped. How is it that Shankaracharya could travel 87 places across the country in 4th century BC? There was no common language. Sanskrit was not the common language at that time. Buddhism was there. There were other languages were there. So lingua franca has always been there. A linked language has always been there. So Hindi, can it fill this space? The problem with Hindi the problem is not with Hindi. The problem is with Hindi speaking people. They refuse to accept the other languages. That's one of the biggest problems. जब हिंदी के विरोध में दक्षिण में आंदोलन चला था, मैं दक्षिण का हूँ, मैं हिंदी बोलता हूँ, जब हिंदी के विरोध में आंदोलन चला था, उस समय उत्तर भारत के राजनीतिक नेता तमिल के बारे में क्या कहते थे? एक डिब्बे में थोड़े पत्थर डालो, पेडल्स, और उसका ऐसा हिलाओ, तो जो साउंड आएगा वो तमिल है. The problem is not with Hindi, the problem is with people not accepting the South Indian language. That is where the problem is. I'm sorry if I'm hurting few sentiments. तो इसके बाद DMK का एक नेता ने कहा, उसको तो चांस मिल गया, उसने कहा था कि हिंदी लैंग्वेज there are only 2 epics. एक का नाम है रामचरितमानस और दूसरे का नाम है रेलवे ट्रेन. So the problem is for the Hindi speakers to learn. आप यहाँ languages learn करने के लिए यहाँ आए. You have come here to learn languages. You will be here for 3 to 5 to 7 years, depending on which course forces you to do. Why can't you learn Telugu? Why are you not making an effort to? You are making an effort to learn Latin language, Russian language, but why not Telugu? You learn Telugu. दक्षिण वाला का ऐसे ही हिंदी में my own experience I tell you. I was born in Tamil Nadu in Kasturba Maternity Hospital in Chennai, 1960, way back in 1960. I've been a regular visitor to Tamil Nadu right from 1970s onwards. Every year I used to spend my summer vacation in Tamil Nadu. I made it a point to ask questions in Hindi. Invariably I used to get replies. Broken English, broken Hindi, but never 999. So the North Indians also need to understand South Indian language, appreciate their sentiment, at least make an effort to learn. Uttar Pradesh government has introduced Tamil as the third language in Uttar Pradesh government. How many Uttar Pradesh boys learn Tamil as the third language? If you do not learn Tamil language, how do you expect Tamilians to learn Hindi? It is reciprocal. We need to understand this point. So, I would like to end my talk with, since we are in Pule Ambedkar Study Circle and today happens to be Baba Saheb's birth anniversary, and we just had Pule's birth anniversary 2 days ago. Pule said languages should be taught in the mother tongue. He said Marathi should be the language of Maharashtrian people, and language, teaching should be done in Marathi language. But he also said you should also learn Hindi. Sorry, you should also learn English because it is the language of the Rajas. This is what Pule said. Baba Saheb Ambedkar said English is the lioness's milk. बाघिनी का दूध है, जो पिएगा वो ताकतवर बनेगा. You will be empowered. लेकिन he also said that you should also know your mother tongue. So mother tongue plus English is what Ambedkar said. But he also made speeches in Hindi when he wanted to address the audience outside. So necessity actually makes you learn more languages. I was in Assam, so I mastered Assamese language. I was in Hyderabad, so एक समय में हैदराबाद में आप बस चलेंगे तो हिंदी में ही बोला जाता था. So people coming from Andhra region, they were forced to speak only Hindi. So this necessity अगर आ जाएगा तो आप सीखेंगे. I'll give you 2 examples before I close. One is the next new educational policy has included Korean as one of the languages that need to be taught in India. Was there a demand from universities? No. Was there a demand from politicians? No. There was a demand from children and youth. They never made a representation to the government of India. More and more Indian boys are now watching Korean soap operas. I noticed this when I was in Assam in 1980s. Go to Nagaland, go to Mizoram, there used to be small movie theaters which can accommodate 70 or 80 people. And usme Korean movies used to be shown. It was in Korean language, no subtitles in those days. But the Naga boys, the Mizo boys, they used to enjoy them. Now I find that, मेरा एक प्रोफेसर है जेनेटिक्स डिपार्टमेंट में उस्मानिया यूनिवर्सिटी में रिटायर्ड प्रोफेसर है. हम एक मीटिंग में थे, we were in a meeting and he said no, मुझे जाना है. क्या बात है, 10 मिनट में मीटिंग खत्म हो जाएगा, एक साथ चलेंगे. नहीं, I have to go. क्यों? My granddaughter today is celebrating the birthday of a Korean pop singer and I have to go and get her some sweets. It is the pressure from the people that has put Korean language, South Korean dialect as one of the languages that need to be taught in India in the new education policy that is now coming into. The second example I will give you, go to any place beyond Medicare, you would find that there are a lot of stops with the name Ertugrul. कौन है ये Ertugrul? Ertugrul is a Turkish hero. उसका टीवी सीरियल OTT प्लेटफॉर्म में और टीवी सीरियल बहुत आते हैं. तो in Pakistan they are arranged, and lot of people who have worked abroad, they watch that serial, and now we are downloading them from the OTT platforms, and you would find Ertugrul everywhere in the old city of Hyderabad. In Pakistan, go to old city, you would find a lot of auto rickshaw wallahs will write Ertugrul. Ertugrul is actually Turkish. So language, actually the liking for a language or a need for the governments to legislate on languages comes from people's pressure, not from political parties. DMK can never arbitrate Hindi. Same way, Hindi cannot be gulped down the throat of South India just by the force of legislation. You have to create a need. Ravichandran Ashwin, which language will he speak with Munaf Patel? Hindi. Which language will Varun Chakravarti speak with our Hyderabadi boys, Raj? होगा उर्दू हिंदी का मिक्स होगा. So the need has to come from the people. I think the crux of this whole issue is unless you create a need, आप कभी भी you cannot impose a language. In Mauritius, people speak Bhojpuri. They speak Bhojpuri. Even Telugu speak Bhojpuri. Why? It is because there are more Bhojpuri people, and that's one way of communicating with among ourselves. Bhojpuri is the official, one of the two official languages of Mauritius. Not many people know. So the most important thing is for a language to become a lingua franca is necessity and the demand from the people that makes a language, official language हो सकता है, lingua franca हो सकता है, कुछ भी हो सकता है. वो तभी बनेगा जब when it becomes imperative. That is most important. छत्रपति शिवाजी को मिलने के लिए 15th century में कानपुर से भूषण कवि आता है. भूषण कवि आकर के भूषण कवि हिंदी speakers will definitely know about भूषण कवि. भूषण कवि शिवाजी के माने दरबार में वो बने थे. He became दरबारी poet. He wrote a poem on Shivaji's army. And वो कहता है कि साजे चतुरंग ऐसा करके एक श्लोक है. साजे चतुरंग सेना अंग में उमंग धरि सरजा शिवाजी जग जीतन चलता है. भूषण भनत नाद बिहद नगाड़न से नदी नद मद गए बरन में रलत है. ऐल फैल गेल बेल खलक में गेल गेल गजन के सैल फैल फैल उसलत है. भारत तारणी धूली भारत धारा में लगत जीवी थारा पर पारा पारा वारी में खलत है. He wrote this poem in a language that is spoken in Kanpur in 15th or 16th century in the name of Shivaji. And today Marathi speakers memorize this poem. Dawa dhuna danda par chita dhuna par mupana vitanda par jaise yugaraj hai. Tejata mahansa par kamani vikamsa par kyaman ekchavu par sher swaraj hai. This is written in Hindi, but is memorized all across Maharashtra even today. Every lover of Chhatrapati Shivaji memorizes this poem. Why am I recounting all these things? Lingua franca or a linked language is accepted only when there is no pressure from anyone. It has to be voluntary. Dhanyawad.